The morning sky over Seattle's Green Lake Park was painted in soft shades of lavender and pearl blue, sunlight filtering lazily through tall pine trees that guarded the sidewalk like quiet sentinels. Joggers passed by with earbuds tucked in, kids laughed in the distance near the duck pond, and the smell of fresh grass drifted through the cool breeze. It was a peaceful morning, at least for everyone else. On an old wooden bench near the bus stop sat Ethan Walker, a quiet man in a black hoodie, worn jeans, and boots that had clearly seen better years. He kept his head slightly bowed, elbows resting on his knees, a folded piece of paper in his hand. His steel blue eyes stared blankly at the passing cars, but his mind was somewhere else, somewhere darker. A children's hospital admission letter sat folded in his fist. His 8-year-old daughter Lily was inside, fighting pneumonia for the second time in a year. Medical bills had drowned him, and his odd jobs barely kept them afloat. His wife had died 3 years earlier in a highway accident, and with her went half his world. Since then, it had just been him and Lily against everything life threw at them. The world saw a tired single father. They didn't see the former Navy SEAL who had once survived impossible missions, a man who had tasted fear, death, and loneliness far before grief found him at home. But today, he didn't want to be a warrior. Today, he was just a father praying for his daughter to get better. 2 motorcycles roared in the distance, the sound ripping through the gentle silence of the park. A pair of young bikers, leather vests, tattoos crawling up their arms, pulled up near the curb. They revved the engines not because they needed to, but because they wanted attention. They laughed loudly at something, glancing toward Ethan with a smirk. To them, he looked like easy prey, exhausted, broke, alone. Someone who wouldn't fight back. Someone who could be bullied without consequence. They had no idea who they were looking at. No idea what kind of storm sat quietly inside him. Ethan noticed them from the corner of his eye but didn't move. Years of discipline taught him never to react until he needed to. He kept breathing slowly, calmly, letting the noise pass through him like wind through tall grass. But the bikers weren't passing through. They were circling. One of them nudged the other, nodding toward Ethan with a grin. The second biker cracked his knuckles and stepped off the motorcycle. Ethan finally lifted his eyes. Calm. Steady. Empty of fear. The wolves had just chosen the wrong man. The taller biker swaggered toward the bench like a man who believed the world owed him respect. His name was Travis Harlow, a street bully with nothing but ego stitched into his leather vest. The second one, Cole Maddox, leaned against his bike, watching, waiting, amused. Travis kicked a small pebble toward Ethan's boot. Hey, old man, he sneered. You got a couple bucks? We're short on gas money. Be a good citizen and cough it up. Ethan didn't look at him. Not interested. Wrong answer, at least in Travis's world. He stepped closer, invading Ethan's space. I wasn't asking for your permission. I'm giving you a chance to be generous. Ethan breathed slowly, still seated, voice low and calm. You're not looking for gas money. You're looking for a victim. But I'm not the one. That single sentence, quiet but razor-edged, made Travis bristle. Think you're tough, tough guy? Travis scoffed, tapping Ethan's shoulder with 2 fingers. You don't even look like you can swing a punch. Ethan's jaw flexed. Still, no reaction. Years of military discipline taught him control, measured patience before force. But inside, a storm churned. Not fear, just quiet warning. Cole chuckled from behind, clearly entertained. This one's slow, Trav. He's half asleep. Just shake him down and let's go. Travis reached down and snatched the hospital letter out of Ethan's hand. That was the breaking point. Ethan stood. Not fast. Not threatening. Just steady. And in that moment, everything about him changed. The stillness in his body became tension. His stance squared, shoulders aligned, center of gravity grounded. He no longer looked like a tired father, he looked like a man trained to dismantle danger in seconds. Travis grinned like he still believed he was in control. What's this? Little princess in the hospital? He mocked, waving the paper. Guess that means you're weak. Men who can't protect their family don't deserve. Before the insult finished, Ethan's hand moved like a flash, one swift wrist lock, a twist, and Travis dropped to a knee with a sharp yelp of pain. Cole straightened off his bike. What the, hey? Let him go. Ethan's voice dropped into something colder. Something forged in battlefields far from city parks. You just made two bad decisions, he said. The first was choosing me. The second was insulting my daughter. He released Travis, who scrambled backward holding his wrist. But humiliation breeds fury. Travis's pride was hit harder than his bones. He stood, shaking with rage. You think you're some kind of hero? You're dead, man. You hear me? Cole now stepped forward, jaw tight, eyes narrowing at Ethan. The confrontation was no longer a game. The wolves had realized the sheep had teeth, sharp ones. But what they still didn't know was that this wasn't even the beginning of what Ethan could do when cornered. Cole walked toward Ethan now, slower and more cautious than Travis had. His smirk was gone, replaced by something colder, measured aggression, the kind that comes from a bruised ego more than real courage. You got one free shot, Cole said, cracking his neck. But now you're done. Ethan said nothing. He didn't posture, didn't flinch. His breathing stayed slow, steady. He didn't want to fight, but some storms don't ask for permission before they start. The wind rustled the tall trees overhead as a mom jogged by with her stroller, oblivious to the danger building just 10 feet away. Birds chirped somewhere in the distance, an almost cruel contrast to the violence simmering in the air. Cole swung first, wild, untrained, all shoulder and anger. Ethan leaned back a fraction and the fist cut through empty air. In the same heartbeat, Ethan delivered a quick palm strike to Cole's sternum, controlled but powerful. Cole stumbled backward, breath knocked out of him, eyes wide. You don't want this, Ethan warned quietly, voice calm like still water right before a storm surge. Walk away. Travis, still nursing his wrist, spat onto the pavement. What are you, some ex-cop? Ethan's eyes hardened. More than that. Cole wiped his mouth, embarrassment burning through his skin. You think you're better than us? No, Ethan replied, voice flat. I just learned how to stop dangerous people before they hurt someone. Travis laughed, a dry, taunting bark. Dangerous? We're just collecting what we're owed. You're not owed anything, Ethan said. And what you're doing? That's not tough. It's not grit. It's weakness dressing itself up as power. That hit deeper than any punch. Cole's face twisted. You talk too much. He charged again, but this time Ethan didn't dodge. With one fluid movement, he sidestepped, trapped Cole's elbow, and swept his leg, sending him hard to the ground. No theatrics. Just flawless precision. Cole gasped in shock more than pain. Travis looked rattled now. Fear flickered behind his bravado. You military? He muttered. Navy, Ethan answered, eyes locked on him. Like a sailor? Travis scoffed, still trying to recover some shred of confidence. Ethan stepped closer, just one step, but it was enough to send a chill through both men. Navy SEAL. The air thickened. Cole's jaw slackened. Travis swallowed hard. Suddenly this wasn't a random guy at a bus stop. This was someone trained to break bones before most men finished a thought. Someone who could end this confrontation in 3 seconds and walk away without losing breath. Travis tried to laugh it off, but the sound cracked halfway through. Yeah? You expect us to believe that? Ethan didn't brag. He didn't flash dog tags. He didn't raise his voice. He just looked at them, with the kind of stare that only men who've walked through gunfire and funerals carry. Cole got back to his feet slowly, rubbing his shoulder, eyes filled more with disbelief than anger now. He wasn't used to losing. Especially not in public. Especially not to a man who never once raised his voice or bragged about anything. Travis looked between Ethan and his bike, trying to decide which direction dignity lived in. Pride pulled one way, common sense the other. But humiliation still burned like gasoline behind his ribs, and men like him always chose the wrong fuel. You think just because you were some Navy hotshot, you can look down on us? Travis snapped. Ethan shook his head gently. No. I don't look down on you. I pity you. That sentence landed harder than any strike. Pity is a mirror pride can't stand. A silent moment settled, until Travis lunged again, this time with blind rage. Ethan didn't even step back. He simply redirected the shove, planted his hand to Travis's chest, and guided him sideways with surgical ease. Travis stumbled, tripped, and hit the pavement hard. Cole hesitated this time, breathing heavy, jaw clenched, ego bruised beyond repair. His eyes darted around, maybe to see if anyone was watching, maybe looking for an escape route that wouldn't feel like surrender. You don't belong in this, Ethan said, softer now. You don't have to keep choosing the worst version of yourself. Cole stared at him like he didn't understand the sentence, like no one had ever told him there was another version of himself. Travis wasn't listening. He was already digging deeper into anger than reason. You think you're better than me? You think you can walk around acting like a hero? Ethan's voice stayed low, grounded. Heroes don't pick fights. They stop them. A police cruiser pulled up in the distance, responding to someone's call from the park. Maybe a witness. Maybe a passerby. But the flashing lights were enough to crack Travis's bravado. He cursed under his breath, pushing himself up and staggering backward. This isn't over, he threatened weakly. It is, Ethan replied. And you know it. Cole tugged his sleeve. Trav. We need to go. Now. The two bikers scrambled to their motorcycles, the growl of the engine sounding far less intimidating than when they arrived. They pulled away fast, disappearing down the road like dogs retreating from a fight they never should have started. Silence returned to the bus stop. The breeze moved through the pine branches again. A child laughed somewhere near the pond. Life resumed its peaceful rhythm, like the park itself had been waiting for the storm to pass. Ethan retrieved the hospital letter from the pavement, folding it gently and slipping it back into his pocket. The hardness in his eyes melted into grief again, not for the fight, not for the bikers, but for his daughter, his reason for breathing. He wasn't a warrior because he wanted to be. He was a warrior because life never gave him the luxury of being anything else. The bus arrived. He stepped on, took a seat by the window, and exhaled a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He wasn't proud of what happened, just relieved it was over. He closed his eyes and pictured Lily's smile. That was his victory. Always her. If you found meaning in this story, if it moved you or reminded you of the strength hidden in quiet people, kindly leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts below. Please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Quest so we can continue telling stories that inspire strength, courage, and compassion. Thank you for watching.